So we're talking here about an individual called Ivor Ward, who says it's a pleasure for him to still be working 4 days a week at 98. The former Royal Engineer works at East Midlands Pharma in Rothley, Leicestershire. He's been there 20 years, obviously loves it. He lives alone, says his colleagues are like a family. And he reckons if he wasn't working there, he'd be sitting on his own, ageing more quickly. So what about it? Would you work until you're 98, assuming, you're still standing and everything? Maybe you're in your 90s and you're still working. I'd love to hear from you, if so. When are you planning to stop, if ever? When are you planning to stop, if ever?
Well, I don't really have a plan, which is really irresponsible. I'm just going to keep going until I don't know, Jeremy. I mean, if I make it to my 90s, I'll be delighted. If I've got my faculties, I hope that I keep active in some way. Do I want to be nose to the grindstone at that age? I really hope not.
We're talking pipe and slippers here, aren't we? Are you going to put on a pair of slippers and smoke a pipe?
No, I'm not. I'm going to wear outrageous clothing and be that woman in,
You're not going to ever do pipe and slippers, are you?
Well, no, and the thing is, the thing about work for me is at least I'm out and about earning money rather than spending it. Because if I was at home all day, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be out spending
you'd be
money
online
that I don't have. But seriously, if I don't work for a week, my brain just goes to hell. And,
for a week, so even holidays you
get. When I go on holiday,
beach brain.
I don't read papers. I purposely don't read just to give my head a rest.
Do you get less angry about stuff?
Stop it now. I would not get less angry if you were on holiday with me. But no, but so I don't. But when I come back, it takes a lot for my brain to work. And I think if I wasn't, the studies show that the longer you work and the longer your brain is active, it staves off dementia.
Well, I hope so.
For me, it'd be the social thing I really understand. Loneliness is an absolute killer. So many people suffer from loneliness, and that is awful. I would like genuinely to live in some kind of commune.
Yeah.
If I suddenly came into a lot of money, I'd be buying up some house that all my mates we could all age together.
That's a great idea, and you could all look after me. I'm thrilled to be joined by Ivor now.
A menial job.
Well, listen, Ivor, we're full of admiration for you, Ivor. How are you doing?
Oh, it's fantastic. I'm working now at the moment, and it's fine. I've got people to talk to. We're having a laugh. I treat them like the family, ask them about the kids, and it fills my day. Nighttime, I'm great. I've got friends and I'm out, but I would just be sitting and looking at four walls all day, and I think I would have gone by now.
Oh! Listen, I was just thinking, if you're 98, it's possible you could be turning 100 in 2025. Am I right, or is it 2026?
26.
26. What month?
Yeah.
What month?
April.
And do you think you'll still be working where you are now if you're in good health at age 100?
Yes, I definitely intend working to 100. Then I'm going to have a gap year and start again.
Ivor, what do you do? The company you work for is called EM Pharma. What is it you do within the company? Tell us.
I have a nice little job, which is just packing medicines and various other things to do with pharmacies, and they look after me very well, and everything's fine. I'm in company, I'm talking, my brain's active, I'm lifting, carrying, everything's fine.
But
is there not a day, Ivor, sometimes do you have a day where you think, I'd much rather be at home during the day watching the snooker or something, like a normal retired person?
Yeah, but I'm not a normal person, I don't think,
No,
because I had 2 hours in the house and I'm climbing up the walls and,
that's
wondering what to do.
But Ivor, you didn't start with this company until you were 78, didn't you? Isn't that right?
No, I was even more active then. I was in the leisure industry, bookmaking and whatnot, so I was working long days and 7 days a week, but loving it.
It's interesting that the work. So the work is helping you to live longer. Is that right?
That's right. There's a workforce out there that's great. They were dedicated and everything, and they're sitting there lonely, and they should be tapped into and offered something. It will help them through their loneliness. That's the biggest troublemaker to me when I'm talking to other people.
Well, I wonder whether it's time get onto HR and say, listen, it's time for a rise now. I've been waiting 20 years. You know. Thanks, Ivor. So nice to talk to you. It's really encouraging for all of us, and I hope you stay in good health.
Yeah.
Bye, Ivor. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Partly just the work ethic, Gemma, isn't it? It's so
which
impressive.
is incredible. And I think he's obviously a really impressive person, but it has to be some choice. I mean, if Sunak has his way, he will be dragging people out of retirement homes to work, you know. And that is, you know,
a lot of over 50s say they really struggle to get back into the jobs market for what they may have spent their pension.
But a big shout out to that company for taking
I agree.
on EM Pharma when he was 78 years old. You know, we've got we've got 9.2 million people now between 16 and 64 not actively looking for work. Why not exploit the workforce that's 70 plus, that wants to work, that wants to be out there?
He was a former Royal Engineer.
Yes.
And it's also worth remembering, and I do a bit of work with a charity called Soldiering On, which is all about after the military, what happens? Because a lot of people might be coming out in their 30s or 40s, a lot of mental health issues and stuff, and showing people as a future beyond it, but also that they've got phenomenal skills. Often if you've been in the army, you know, like Ivor, he's not going to get flummoxed by anything.
And in reality, that whole thing, you know, 50's the new 40, 60, there is truth in that. We're all living a great deal longer, so perhaps the idea of retirement needs to be adjusted. And yet, on the flip side, that is, don't get me, fantastic. But for some people, perhaps they want to be travelling. It's not, you know, if they are able to, and there is more.
It's got to be choice.
More to life as well.
Here's an amazing thing. Ivor said when I asked him, he was born in April 1926.
Wow.
Do you know who else was?
No.
Her Majesty.
Oh, wow.
Same month. Same month.
Yeah. And that's same age as David Attenborough then
Yeah.
as well, who is just still going as well.
Yeah, still going, yeah.
We've got the King who's, 74, leading the way for 70 plus people.
And you could mention Trump as well.
Well, why
You
would we do
could.
that?
Well, I thought you were going to throw him in.
He's a wonderful example to us all.
Pauline in Cheshire, hello.
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 Well, what do you think of Ivor there?
Brilliant. I hope it goes on till 100.
And are you still working late in life, or are you retired?
I'm now retired because I had to give up my jobs because the job insisted on me being face-to-face for meetings, and I have a mobility problem, which meant that I've had to give up my car for the moment, which means I can't drive, so I can't get to the meetings unless I go by taxi. And then I'm going to have to wait at the other end of the meeting for a taxi to come and get me back again.
It sounds like you're not very happy about that.
I'm not very happy at all.
But I
I'd be very happy
COVID helped us to understand that we can do a lot of things not in person.
Well, yes. During COVID, I was quite happily working because we could have meetings on screen.
Yeah.
We Zoomed all our meetings.
Thank you, Pauline. It is worth saying a lot of people will not be working at 98. They might be dead, but also they could have very serious health problems. I mean, I know of elderly people who've had, falls in their 80s and stuff, and that really knocks their confidence and everything. So
or dementia and so on.
Yes, and they'd probably love to be still healthy at 98.
But I think if there's a chance to work, I think it's fantastic. It's not just good for your mental capabilities. It's actually fun. You actually have fun at work, and it brings extra money. And a lot of elderly people don't have that.
And as you say, if you're working, you can't spend money.
You can't spend exactly. I just think it's a fantastic. I just wish more companies did this. I mean, I just think it's incredible that someone like Ivor can be working at 90. He loves his life. You can tell.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's just shining. Yeah, he's got such a sense of joy.
I actually think it's good for people around him as well to have Ivor there.
Yes. But
then, look, here's the counter side to it, is that, as they always say, nobody on their deathbed ever says, I wish I'd spent more time in the office.
Well, you say
nobody.
That. No. You say that until you realise that maybe the office was what gave you a lot of joy. If you don't realise at the time,
if you love your job,
it comes down to if you're lonely. And if you are surrounded by people, if you are lucky enough to still have a partner, family, children that are around you in a community, then perhaps work doesn't need to be for you. What he's saying is it's that, or I'm in on my own. And so he's brilliantly, made his life fantastic for him. So
He
it's
will
social.
never have watched the show ever, of course, because he'll have been at work. Because he said he didn't want to waste his life watching daytime TV.
Well, I think there wouldn't be a waste to watch this show. Kelly in Oxfordshire, hi.
Hi.
Well, that was inspiring, wasn't it?
It was.
What do you think? Are you going to hope to work at 98 or not?
No.
No. What are you going to be doing?
Well, hopefully, sitting in my garden in a deck chair doing some gardening.
Well, you can't be in a deck chair and gardening. That doesn't work at all. So, because my worry about the deck chair is then we start to think, oh, I think that my shoulder feels a bit strange. Maybe I've got shoulder cancer. You know, you start to really worry about your health. I think if you're
Crazy,
unoccupied.
yeah.
Do you not think time off is really attractive until you get a shed load of it, and then it's not quite so attractive? I mean, I took 2 weeks off at Christmas for the first time ever, and my head was done in after 10 days.
You sound like you were
But there's
traumatised by
loads
this
to do.
holiday.
And my dad, when he retired, we were like, oh, he's not going to cope with this. He doesn't stop. Most social he's
I've
ever
met your
been.
dad. He's busy.
Writes
He's on it.
poetry,
Yes.
does stand-up, does all sorts of stuff. He's
Wow.
always on the go.
Quickly, thanks, Kelly. Let's go to Natalie in Shropshire. Natalie, will you be working at 98?
Well, I hope so, but I won't be driving at 98 whilst I'm driving at the moment all over the county, giving talks to various groups and schools and synagogues.
Okay. What, talking about being older or what?
Oh, no, I wrote a book 5 years ago which was published and it just took off, and so I talk, it's called The Fiddle.
The
and
Fiddle.
It's about the Holocaust, and last year I got a commendation from the King and Queen for my work. So as long as I'm able to drive, although I do go to London and synagogues and schools in London
Oh,
by
wonderful.
train.
What an amazing thing to be doing. Thank you, Natalie.
Wow.
That just shows that you can almost have a new start later in life. Thank you so much. After the break.